Welcome in another episode, going for two. This is a special edition. We're hanging out down here at the clubhouse at
You got your mic on, right, Chad?
There's no snare in my headphones.
Yeah,
I can't hear my snare.
Chad's got his mic on. We're lucky he's not sleeping on the couch, even though he's on the couch all by himself over there. But we've had a lot happen since the last time we went live. We did the draft party down here. Electric energy. But we didn't really get the opportunity to talk about the picks. And, I mean, we've alluded to how Atlanta fucked up a little bit. And we've alluded
Just a little
to
bit, or
how maybe, you were happy with your pick. I think I honestly don't even know who the Bucks took, so I'm going to have to rely on Chad for that.
we
But
took the best guard in the draft.
And that's probably going to be good. Overall, the draft is done. The schedule is out. I was just filling Kalen in on the trip that I have planned for September, October area. It feels way closer than it ever did. So, how are you feeling right now?
I'm excited football's back. That's the big thing.
And
When
some
you-
would say football never left.
When you said that you guys picked the best guard, is it you had a smirk there? Was this was it a center or a tackle moving to guard or something? Like what
He
happened?
played all 5 positions. That's what it is.
Okay.
He's going to be a guard in the NFL.
But could play center. If he
Yeah,
needed to.
he's going to be a 10-year starter. Like, he was an All-American, I think 2 times. Definitely All-Conference 3. Like, safe pick. Once again, it's one of those, I talked about it the draft night. Do you get the shiny pair of rollerblades that you've wanted all year? Or do you get the underwear that you need?
Well, I was waiting for him to finish. I was going to look at you and say, "What? I've never wanted a shiny pair of rollerblades."
Well,
I'm not sure Chad's ever had one.
I have. I used to play some inline hockey back in the day. These legs used to be out of
inlines,
Whoa.
so it's a different world for Chad over there.
What's that white stuff on the orange called again?
Yeah, good time. The
Yeah.
fuzzy white stuff.
The fuzzy white
Yeah.
stuff. That's right.
But yeah, we didn't get the cool gift that you wanted all year, but we got the safe gift that you need. And it's going to be a 10-year starter for us. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And when you pick at 27, you don't know what that's like. So you take the best player available.
It happened like 4 years ago, like 5 years ago.
It
Easy.
sewered your whole
Yeah.
franchise.
Yeah.
So you know what picking safe means, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with the pick. And I wish we would have got a corner. That's my honest. I wanted Kool-Aid, but obviously I trust they know what they're doing. Once again, it's not like we got a guy who's going to be a bust. Like,
Yeah.
you don't really boom or bust in the offensive line. If we took a guard at 7, I'd be a lot more upset because it's not a huge need. It's more of that was the best player available.
The thing is, you grab a guard and you at least boost your run game.
Yeah.
You grab a corner, and then 2 years from now, he can help your secondary. Like, you want an instant starter, and you got an instant starter, especially if you're drafting at 27. You're either looking for an instant starter or the best available project. And with the Tampa Bay franchise, the way that they're set up, they're not really set up for a project. Like, you can't sign up for a project corner. You can't sign up for a project linebacker. They've made those picks. They got, I can't even think of the guy's name, but they got him at 32 when they won the Super Bowl. He hasn't been bad, but he's, I don't think you would sign up for him as a 10-year starter.
Yeah.
But you get a 10, 12-year starter. Ideally, you can keep him in your organization.
You get him for 7 years. You're going to get 5 to 7 year starter. And you pick him at 27, it didn't cost you anything.
If you say one thing about Tampa, they definitely don't let their draft picks out of the building if they can help it. And, they've done that with their receivers. They've done that with...
Well, is Rashad White still sticking around there? Devin White and Rashad White got chased out, didn't he?
Yeah. They're all still there.
Yeah.
And, corners we haven't drafted well. To be honest, we haven't
Tough
drafted...
position to draft at.
We've drafted a lot of corners the last few years that haven't panned out. I think probably the last 7 years we've drafted 3 in the first round.
Yeah.
None of them are still in town. So, to be honest, I'm okay with the pick. Did I want a corner? Yes. But do I understand the reasoning? 100%.
Right. Well, and we obviously hope for some kind of crazy catastrophic trade for the Titans because that's something that's brought joy to our lives throughout the draft process that we've had.
There already was a catastrophic trade for one team that the Titans were involved in this offseason.
Well, and
Don't tell me that the Kansas City defense is going to be as good as they have been the last couple of years. Let's see there.
I'm not going to tell you that because they also lost Willie Gay in the offseason.
He also lost Rashid Rice.
Yeah. Well,
Whoa. Yeah.
don't go too fast to say that. But yeah, it does seem like he might be unavailable for a game or two. But yeah, the Titans have definitely made the trade that you wanted them to make. They got you a tackle. I've heard that Traylon Burks is getting traded to Pittsburgh for a sixth round pick.
Oh, we're going to get that much for him?
I'm not saying that that's actually a fact. I'm just saying like that is what I have heard bounced around. Now, the offensive line gets a little better. You know, your boy that puts like mayonnaise in his coffee. He's
Philly jeans.
like, are they good enough on offense for all the receivers that they have?
Well, okay, so it's funny them getting Boyd this offseason. The week before OBJ signed, the week before, and when he signed, I had some friends that were, oh, he's going to do so good, Miami, he's going to be amazing. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are really hoping for at this point. I know McDaniels can scheme some guys open, but
Yeah.
OBJ is not OBJ 2015, 2016, right?
But I mean, when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as your protection, like that's, I mean, if this was
He's
baseball,
gonna get easy coverage and
Yeah.
soft coverage because those guys are taking two guys apiece.
So
if this is baseball, he's the 2 hitter, and your 3 and 4 hitters are getting all the hard pitches. OBJ's getting a lot of fastballs.
So you've seen him a couple times this season. He's in your division, so you probably pay attention to him a little bit too. But
Oh, he sucked this year.
I'm talking about not OBJ, but I'm coming back to Boyd. When that signing happened, OBJ, the first thing I said to my friends that were really hype about that signing was he is more hype about his name, and he is not any better at this point in his career than Zay Jones and Tyler Boyd. I would even put Boyd higher than him, was what I was saying at that time.
100%.
And then Zay Jones had a scheduled an interview with the Titans, and I thought, oh shit, maybe he's going to sign there. And then Tyler Boyd did, and then he left, and I thought, man, like that sucked. I really wanted Boyd to stick around. The next day, Boyd signs.
Bad hands.
I would. What's that?
Boyd has bad hands.
He does have bad hands, but that's why he's a 3, right? And I would arguably say that if I'm looking across the NFL for a 3 receiver, outside of maybe Adam Thielen down there in Carolina, because that's what he is now, I don't think there's a better 3 receiver in the AFC for sure than Tyler Boyd. Guy gets you 6 touchdowns or 6 to 8 touchdowns every year, 700 yards every year minimum.
Yeah.
I'll take that on paper every single time. So when you talk about scheming guys open, and then your safety blanket is Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Calvin Ridley's not Tyreek Hill. He's not going to speed of Tyreek Hill. But that's what his job is going to be in Tennessee. It's going to be go downfield. We're just going to throw it to you as far as we possibly can, right?
Also,
I
like
still don't like him.
it's not like Tyler Boyd made his bones on a guy like Joe Burrow. He was actually a more productive receiver for Andy Dalton.
And the guy that replaced Burrow during the injury last year, during the injury, Boyd was fantastic for him. Like
Yeah.
absolute
Well,
safety blanket for him.
And that's the thing, is like he can get open short, he can get where he needs to be. He's definitely not in a better situation in Tennessee than he was in Cincinnati, in my opinion. I mean, if you have T. Higgins and you have Jamar Chase, and you trade that for D Hop and Ridley, I mean, I guess you're going to be biased to tell me that you think that's
No,
a better spot.
I think where Cincinnati is far better as their offensive line. We have no idea what Tennessee's going to look like.
And Cincinnati has never had a good O-line, so like that's even worse.
No,
So,
yeah, hey, record breaking. But that's what one of the things you mentioned, the tackle. I'm super excited about Billy Callahan being there as a coach. I don't know if you guys, maybe because he was in your division, you might have heard this.
Yeah.
He has his own sled. Like he has an invention that he made himself that you have to lift it at a specific angle to get the leverage to make it move. You can get it up off the ground, but it will not move until you get the proper angle of attack. And that, people wondering, why is Bill Callahan such a fantastic O-line coach? How is he able to get so much production of players that are not good?
Right.
And this is specifically an example. I'm going, well, I didn't even knew he had an invention like this, right? But like, he's one of the only guys that can use this in the NFL. So that's something I'm really excited to see as a guy struggle through an offensive line for 2 years.
Bill Callahan has sucked as an offensive line coach in the NFL, and I think that he's a decent coordinator. But if
You're talking about Brian Callahan. You're talking about the OC that we decided as the head coach?
yeah,
or his dad?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yes,
I'm talking about
yes.
his dad. His dad is the
Well,
O-line coach. Was like, unfortunately, his bad rap was the Raiders head coach there for a year or two. But outside of that, like he's had offensive lines across the NFL that have been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Well,
jury's out for his son. You're right.
I'm thinking the Cincinnati O lines that have been there and have been shit for a long time.
He was in Cleveland. Cleveland's all. That's where Billy Callahan came from. His dad was in Cleveland while he was in Cincinnati.
Well, and you know, Cleveland has had a better O line in the last couple of years, but yeah, I was more focused on the Cincinnati O lines that have been really bad recently. And Joe Burrow leading the league in sacks a couple times, not an ideal situation. When you get to the Steelers in the draft,
Not just the draft, but the trade. Like, we still haven't even talked about Deontay Johnson being gone because that strictly leaves Pickens as, like, basically the real only option, right?
so
You're fire move too, but
well, and when it comes down, and you've had a little bit of the Arthur Smith offense. They don't need the true receivers. Pickens has to prove himself as a one. I wouldn't call him a one right now. Like I think that we can all agree on that. They beefed heavily up on the O-line because I think that they're going to run the ball 60, 70 times a game.
you looked like our Detroit fan last year at the draft this year when they drafted that player, the center guard potential guy.
Well, he's actually going to be their starting left tackle.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard to look at, but like they grabbed him, and then they go ahead and draft a center in the second round, and they grab a receiver in the third round, which most people thought that they would have given away one of those three picks for Brandon Ayuk or Tico Samuel. And I can tell you, based on anything I've heard, they tried.
They didn't want to pay
it just wasn't there.
$30 million that Ayuk is demanding right now.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you don't want a $30 million Ayuk, but you might want a later fourth round pick this year of Cortland Sutton or DK Metcalf or somebody like that. I have heard that they have made contact with Michael Thomas.
There's no way DK Metcalf is getting out.
DK Metcalf has a huge number, and the new coaching staff is looking to rebuild. Geno Smith is not their guy, and there's no doubt about that. So if Geno Smith is not your guy, and you have two proven receivers in Lockett and Metcalf, you trade away Metcalf, you save $16 million after June 1st. You trade away Lockett, you save $5 million after June 1st. I mean, I know what I would do if I was in their shoes, but I'm not sure that Metcalf is the guy that they need. They need a receiver that can block. That's why I think like maybe Treylon Burks is the guy that comes in and gets reps. But they grabbed a whole bunch of I don't know. The Steelers seem to have a whole bunch of number 3 receivers like Von Jefferson, Scotty Miller, one of your old boys.
Is Allen Robinson still there?
Allen Robinson went to the Giants.
That's right.
Scotty Miller can fly though.
Yeah, Quez Watkins.
What did you just say?
Scotty Miller can fly. I ran a 4.3 140.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Scotty Miller played for the Titans? He did not like that one at all.
That's not Scotty Miller.
I think you're talking about Kyle Phillips.
Yeah.
No. Who was the slot receiver that came?
The other
from
white guy we had.
Who was that?
I don't remember. He wasn't very good.
Wasn't it Scotty Miller?
No, Scotty Miller replaced him.
Okay.
Scotty Miller won a Super Bowl with us.
Scotty Miller won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Moved on to play for the Falcons last year. They got a
We
bunch
drafted
of
him in the third round, Tom's first year.
yeah. They got a bunch
To
of
replace
those,
the other guy that you're thinking of, and I told you he wasn't good.
yeah. They got a
You
bunch
told
of
me he
those
was
kind of
great.
guys.
I told you he wasn't good. I was right. I will put that out there.
We just needed a proper slot receiver. He didn't
Yeah.
give it to us.
Those are all the guys that they got floating around. Like they got weird names like Denzel Mims on the roster.
Which is this is the I still
It's
like
crazy, right?
I still like Denzel Mims. Though. Like I
He's
just
a
think
big body. I mean, if you can learn how to control it, then maybe he's the number 2.
like who's he played with really? Like Zach
The
Wilson? yeah, the Jets exactly. Like you could have an opportunity with Rodgers, but
But,
Rodgers got
like,
hurt.
enough of our teams, because there's only one team here that's going to win a division. It's mine, and they're not that great. So it's the worst division of football. So many things happen in draft.
You think Baker Mayfield beats out Kirk Cousins for the division?
100%.
100%. That's a big
100%.
That is a big percent.
You know, when we started this, there was a line of "I'm all by myself on the couch over here," and I think you guys are going to be all by yourself at the bottom of the NFC.
Oh, you mean at the top? Yeah, it's going to happen.
No, I don't know. I just think that the Saints for some reason can always compete defensively. They're always good, and you mentioned it. Kirk Cousins coming there with a Kyle Pitts type receiver who needs to get unlocked again.
Drake London.
Drake London, yeah. Bijan Robinson, he can lean on a little bit there. defense, I mean, they had a down year, but I don't know, man. It's something that's just you guys are a little long in the tooth over there in Tampa on offense.
Stop it.
I don't know who's running the ball. Is the concern that I have with Tampa. You can beef up the O line. You can get into position. I've never really bought into the Rashawn White thing, but like, I guess last year he was productive.
Well, they used the passing game to replace the run game, is what they did.
Right.
But they did it in a way to still make Baker in a spot to succeed.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. But this isn't the Steelers, Titans, and Buccaneers show. There's so many things that happen on draft day.
Oh, are you talking about Michael Penix jumping up draft boards after they signed a $200 million quarterback?
That is part of it.
Yeah.
Who didn't stay where he was because he knew they wanted to draft a replacement quarterback, and then goes to Atlanta and does it anyway?
I just think that's the story that we should be talking about the
Well,
second we came on here.
Let's talk about it because overall, I know you were probably just about to say it. I don't believe that Kirk Cousins is an Atlanta Falcon at the end of this year.
I think he's a Band-Aid. I think they gave his contract is steep, but it's actually not steep for starting quarterback.
Yeah.
If you see the numbers that have got tossed around the last 3 years,
Well,
it's a very franchise-friendly quarterback. But he's also, it's all guaranteed. That's why it works for him.
yeah.
He's not playing for his money, so he can take a lesser number.
Well,
And like you said, there's so many weapons in Atlanta. You were not wrong. If that team goes out and starts, because they have an easy schedule,
And that's what I'm saying about you guys, because you got the number one schedule, right? Your first place last year, right? So your schedule this
I don't
year,
know if you've seen our schedule though.
it's a dog's breath, bro.
It's still pretty easy compared to as the first place schedule goes.
The AFC North has the toughest schedules. Like
We have
all
the
the way
20th toughest schedule we won our division. So like the rest of our schedule is pretty simple, easy. But yeah, like that being said, like the Falcons, if they come on, they start 2-5, 3-6, whatever.
Well, I can tell you they're starting 0-1. That's for sure.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if they start out slow. You can't let this kid you just drive your franchise is going to murder you. They're already upset.
You talking about the fans?
The fans.
New GM.
You know who's going to be more
New
upset though?
coaching staff.
That boy needs to learn how to take a hit, because he has been nothing but injured his entire collegiate career.
He had 2 good years on Washington.
Yeah, but he was injured through them too. That guy needs to learn how to take a
He
hit.
had a great year for Indiana,
and
before he transferred.
and why did he transfer out?
But you're saying he needs to learn to take a hit. Like he was diving for the goal line and he separated his shoulder trying to get a touchdown.
So that being said,
That's not.
when we're in the
you
NFL,
can't train
do we
for
talk about quarterbacks diving forward or taking a slide? That's a prime example.
If you're getting to the end zone, you better be diving.
It was overtime. It was like you're in a different situation. You're playing Ohio State. You got Ohio State in your building on the ropes, and this touchdown ends Ohio State's run of like however many in a row that they run. You reach for the fucking end.
Because you want to be the man that takes them down,
100.
rather than just maybe
Yes.
having your running back run in
You're
from
not
half yard.
sliding on the 1 yard
No,
line.
it's
I don't
fourth down.
care who you are.
It was
Oh,
fourth down.
okay.
It was 4th and goal. So like it was that or nothing, and he didn't get there.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, he did get there. That's right.
And he never played another down for Indiana.
That's right. Yeah. So he put his body in the line for a team that just got paid transferred in. But that's NFC. Like I don't know. I just think that they put a lot of money. It sounds like Arthur Blank was involved in the decision.
Yep.
Wanted
He
to
was
make-
not involved in that draft. He
No?
did not look happy.
Well, he's
Oh.
looking happy versus what they've said. Now, everything is media speak after the draft, right? But it seems like he was pretty much, he was involved. They're claiming anyway. So,
So it's either he said you're drafting this guy, or he was saying you're not drafting this guy. We just don't know
You
what's
think he
there.
pulled a Jerry Jones?
He wasn't on his yacht, but with his mistress, but
now,
he did his thing.
we talked about this when Tua came into the league and started making a bit of noise and building an offensive system around him.
Yeah, I don't want a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah. How difficult is it to do that where you're going to have this guy who is a very different passer than Penix is?
Well-
Different abilities and being right-handed.
So
I'm
I
not-
don't know. I don't even know who their coordinator is in Atlanta. To be like, but I do know that their head coach is defensive-minded. Raheem Morris. He was a coach for the Bucs for a while. He was a coach out for the Rams for a while. Mike Tomlin's best friend. Not that they don't know offense, but that guy is not an offensive-minded coach. To have your starting quarterback and your backup quarterback throw from different angles.
All I'm going to say is forget the ball spinning ways
Zach Robinson
and all that BS, like all that stuff. I don't care about that. You build your team and your protection around a right-handed quarterback. You just can't flip all your schemes.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
It makes your right tackle super expensive. Who wants that, right?
And like your right guard. And also now, like, you literally, your whole playbook is schemed to go one way.
Mhm.
And I don't know Bijan Robinson. This is just a very hypothetical statement. Is he just as good going one way as he is the other? I don't know. It's hypothetical.
Maybe like as a running back?
As anything. Because like, you understand. Just as the example. You are making an offense around a guy who's right-handed. You drafted Bijan Robinson very, very high. What happens if he can't run routes to his left? That's hypothetical. You have receivers that can't run to the left. If you're running to your right and running it out, it's not even running to the left and out to your left.
Mm.
That's what I'm trying to say. You ever run a corner? Running a corner over this shoulder, very, very different. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And now you're one hit away from your whole scheme flipping.
Right.
Like if I'm going to hit a left-handed quarterback, I want a left-handed backup.
That's right.
And like that's just me as like scheming purposes only. Because my whole offense is based around that.
Yeah.
But their entire franchise to me is in flux based on everything that they're doing. So if you planned on, it's almost like they didn't think they were going to get Kirk Cousins, and then when they did, they almost thought it was a dream, and they didn't realize that it was happening, so they drafted Penix anyway. I mean, reaching for Penix at 7 was if Penix was 100% your guy, you should have just moved back.
To me, it was they signed the dotted line, and then somebody went, "Holy shit, you know how old he is, right?" And oh my god, we got to plan around that now. I thought he was only 29.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, geez, like that's really what it looked like from the outside looking in. I know we're joking here and everything, but it isn't a logical pick for a team that has holes in many different areas to go quarterback, which wasn't going to be the need this year or next, or potentially even in 3 years from now. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, you're basically saying Kirk Cousins buy tickets so you can watch Kirk Cousins play while we rebuild our team.
Mhm.
And by the time we rebuild our team, guys like Pitts and London and potentially even Robinson will be out the door. So there was other weird stuff going on throughout the draft. You know, I think
Detroit put on a hell of a show, though. They broke the records, man. Like,
Yeah,
that's sort of crazy.
Well, they don't have much to cheer for down there, right? They had one good year.
Yeah, but it's not even a destination city. Nobody wakes up yesterday and said, "I want to go to Michigan. I want to go to Detroit." You know?
You know what? The new version of downtown Detroit is far version than the version that we remember.
Yeah.
We had some fun down there, and you can really enjoy yourself, like get out. I think that you're right, they did a great job. Do I think Detroit did a great job in the draft? I don't know.
I like the pick though.
Listen,
It's tough to upgrade from what they did last year to this year. Everybody was looking at it last year thinking, what did these guys do? And they struck gold on just about every pick that they made. Now, you just can't do that again.
Well, they landed the number one corner in the draft.
yeah.
That felt
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly. So they're very simple way to see how improved the Lions are over the last 3 years. Here's the number of free agents who signed elsewhere. 2022 was 4, 2023 was 10, and this past offseason was 11 so far. So, like, they're being robbed of their riches at the same time. They can't keep everybody, obviously, but
Yeah.
I've gone on multiple times, talked about their assistant GM, GM used to be the assistant GM for the Rams, and he's the one who wouldn't let anybody go ahead of Aaron Donald. Like, he beat the door down for Aaron Donald. He had a very good combine and good collegiate career, but this is, looking back, this guy drafted arguably the best defensive tackle in NFL history, right?
Well, and I think that's a fair statement. You know, when you look at Detroit, I think we're almost getting to the point where we just trust the process now.
well, like Brad Holmes, him and Dan Campbell built something special there.
Yeah.
They paid Jared Goff, just in their eyes, that's their guy. He's doing very well in their system. They got to keep their OC, which everybody thought he was gone. And at the end of the day, they're on the up. Like, I think they have to be the favorite in the NFC, right?
It's nice.
Like, I'm not making this up. Like, they have to be the favorite in the NFC, I feel.
I try to think who I'd maybe put above in the West, the Niners, maybe.
That's the only two teams I think. Because I think Philly's on the downslope, to be honest.
I still am not buying the Jalen Hurts hype. Regardless, man,
Well,
He
done
might
with
have
it.
peaked too early. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But like, maybe he's not gonna like. He's on a bad.
Let's
quarterback
just
play.
remember.
But maybe he's just always gonna be here. That's okay.
Well, he didn't have a center now. He doesn't have arguably the smartest center in the league either. That
guy just took Robert Griffin III's job.
He did.
On Monday Night Football.
he certainly did. But how many times Philly had a multitude of primetime games, so we all got the pleasure of watching them. How many times did you hear or see Jason Kelsey reach over his shoulder, look over his shoulder when Hurts was calling a play, and no, we're going to go back to doing this, or we're going to stop what you're doing and we're going to reset here kind of thing. He doesn't have that anymore. And I know he's still got the top 3 left tackle in the league, but that offensive line is nothing without Jason Kelsey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is tough to say, but yeah, I mean, I don't think the tush push is going to be as prominent. But overall, it'll be interesting to see how they develop through what they're going to do. But how did the Chiefs do it as far as receivers?
Okay, you're going there because we talked about Kelsey. Chad, what do you think about Kelsey getting re-signed? New contract. So he's sticking around for longer. He's not done after this year, eh?
Highest paid tight end right
Yeah. Just crazy. It is crazy.
He should be the highest paid. I'll tell you that much.
He shouldn't be? Who should be the highest?
I don't know, man. Not him. But
I mean,
put me on the spot. Like, I think there's tiers of tight ends, and I think he's slowly like. I don't know if he's at the top of the top.
The only reason I think that he's at the top
he's
right
been
now
that before. It's just not that now.
is his contract. But we know that when Sam Laporta gets there, he's going to be that boy.
Like, I think
right?
that Laporta, obviously George Kittle's.
Well, Kittle fell off, too. Like, this last year was not a Kittle year.
Yeah, but like
Kittle does so many other things.
that's the
and
thing
it's
is
okay.
like that's why Kittle probably needs to make more than Kelsey, because like Kelsey's getting open for Patrick Mahomes, who like doesn't need to be open. Patrick Mahomes is throwing it. He doesn't care if it gets intercepted. Where like Brock Purdy is so careful with the ball, and it's not. I mean, they're not playing the same position, but how many times has Kittle sprung like a major run?
Oh, quite often. Listen, guys.
And then how many times has Kelsey
Kelsey. Sorry, Kelsey's first 3 years in his career was horrible run blocking. This was, as a Titans fan, we've got that rivalry we've had against the Chiefs for a while, so it's been the fan base going back and forth. And one of the biggest harps that we always said was that Kelsey was a one-hit wonder, could only get open for Patrick Mahomes, like what you're mentioning right now.
Yeah.
His run blocking ability has gotten much, much better over the last few
Yeah,
years.
he's the last 2 steps. He has to.
Stop.
No,
Stop.
not an
But
insult. But like,
realistically, okay,
he
so
still got 70 catches last year. He still got 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Still got X amount of touchdowns.
that's right. And his supporting cast around him, I get it, Patrick Mahomes. I get it, the offensive line is very, very strong there. There's not many teams in the NFL that could win with just a tight end that's 33 years old. There's really nobody else who was passing to there. He really wasn't, right?
Well, and yeah, there's not a whole lot of receivers, and I'm not sure that they did any better. They got Marquise Brown in the offseason.
You got some hate on for my boy Worthy, though. Poor guy got his car stolen. He only been there 2.5 weeks.
The fact of the matter is like
He got his car stolen, Rashid Rice probably stole it. Who cares?
like
It's Rashid Rice. You can call him Rashid Rice.
I want big-bodied receivers and long corners, and
Even after we talked about the changes to the kickoff, though, and how
Yes.
important that is.
yes,
Wow.
you talk about the kickoff. It's going to be interesting. Like Taysom Hill will probably return kicks for the Saints. Justin Fields will probably return kicks for the Steelers. And like those are the kind of things, because of the different blocking schemes. You don't need that guy that got the wiggle. You just need the guy that can withstand a blow and get a little like shit. Worthy's not that guy.
What Texas games did you watch?
I watched the games where A.D. Mitchell was always open.
For bombs. Who was getting the 5 yards over the middle that had to take those passes to the house was Worthy.
Look, you played against Big 12 competition. It's not even the same league.
Stop
You're not
it.
even playing. Like, if there was tiers to college football, that is like tier 4 college football.
Mm-mm.
And then after that, like there's the group of 5. If you're not playing in the Big Ten or the SEC, you're not even close.
And if you're in the Big Ten and just floating near the bottom, you're still relevant, apparently, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you would.
Well, yeah.
You would
Well,
rather be
yeah.
a medium-sized fish in the biggest pond
Stop.
as opposed to the biggest fish in a puddle.
Stop.
Is that not like
I like
you got?
But
you
it's
guys
not-
don't have
it's
a conference, but you did for Denver's conference.
Yeah.
But it's not even
When you play Big 12 teams, you're probably like, sick. We got this one.
coming
When
back.
was the last time Notre Dame lost to a Big 12 team?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that guy's been in the NFL for 10 years. Like
Who was
go
that?
back.
Baker.
Last time Notre Dame lost to a Big 12 team was Baker Mayfield, and like that dude was good at college.
Coming back to KC,
Okay,
where I think they've done the biggest disservice for themselves, though, is on defense. I mean, they've already proven they don't need the receivers, whatever, to win offense or win games. Their defense this year is going to be solely sitting on Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie. Is that it?
well, 2 years ago we had a similar conversation and said their defense was going to be dog shit and they didn't have a chance.
They got better.
And they had a bunch of guys. They had a bunch of like ones and twos that popped out of nowhere. And I'm not saying that that's happening again. I'm just saying that's possible to happen again.
He's googling to say that you're wrong.
No.
That's fine. Like they definitely lost guys. Like the defense.
You can't
was
just make it
poor.
like the Darius Sneed. Yeah, you can just make that guy back. Like that's
Yeah.
obvious.
Willie Gay, who he was their defensive signal caller. Like you can't just make that guy back, but they might find a way. They might try it here and there.
At the end of the day, it's a business, and they thought those guys were extendable for what they had coming through
Yeah,
at the price point they wanted. That's all it comes down to. And every team has that situation.
yeah.
Like, where are you going to spend your money?
The
And
same.
on the Chiefs, it's honestly, how do I make Patrick Mahomes happy? That's how we're going to make our money. That's where we're going to go.
The thing is, like, it seems like there's a bunch of teams in the NFC that are in big trouble with cap, and a bunch of teams in the AFC that are just not. So, outside of like the Denver Broncos in the AFC, most of the teams in the AFC are like they're in a good cap position. But you look around the NFC and you look at like the Seahawks, and you look at the Saints, and continue to like work your way down. Like the NFC is so like the Vikings, they're so cash strapped because of moves that they've made. It always has seemed like the AFC was the more dominant conference, and now with all the cash in the AFC, like, and you know we were talking about before we came on, Trevor Lawrence is about to get $55 million.
What a mistake.
55 a year.
What a mistake.
What other option do they have? Hear me out, though. What
Yeah.
other option do they have?
You
I agree.
trade the farm for that.
No.
You get the farm for that guy, and you get somebody that's better against the blitz. That guy is horrible.
Okay,
against the
hear me
blitz.
though. Listen, are you going to trade the farm for him?
No, I'm happy with Billy Jeans.
Exactly. No one's going to trade the farm to get him, so your only option to fucking pay him.
That's the thing. It's like you look
I'm
at
not
like,
I'm not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you, but like, that's what the spot they're in.
if you were the first overall pick, the best you're doing is 3 first-round picks. Well, this guy has to be projected better than a first overall pick. He was the first overall pick, and he has performed.
Mid-tier first round.
Yeah, but you would anticipate that this guy's getting 3 first-round picks, probably 2 seconds, and something else, right?
So we talk about cap strap, right? I look at the Jags, a team that has spent money. They're going to have to spend money right now. That's one of the reasons why they unfortunately couldn't compete with the Titans offer for Ridley right here.
Yep.
This is a team that will no longer be able to spend money. And the only way that Jacksonville has ever been able to remain relevant over the last 25 years is spending money. They will no longer be able to do that. And that's where I think that's why it's a terrible idea for them.
What's the other option?
I said the other option is finding else what else you can get.
What's a trade partner to get rid of Trevor Lawrence?
In
And
their
what's a
eyes,
reasonable package?
whether you believe it or not, in their eyes, that's their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I agree. But I think
So-
their back's against the wall a little bit
So
too.
if you go to trade him, you're expecting to get a franchise back for your franchise quarterback.
It doesn't need to be a quarterback though. I
No,
don't think that
you're-
you need to.
You're expecting to get a franchise
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
for your quarterback.
Yeah.
I want all my holes filled if you're going to take my quarterback.
Yep.
No one's going to make that deal.
I wouldn't say all my holes, but if I'm getting a franchise player for a franchise player, and it depends if they're at an elite position.
Not at all.
If we're talking
What franchise player do you take for a quarterback?
wide receiver,
Not a fucking
not
chance.
not if not
You can draft one in the fucking first round for $6 million. Don't give me that fucking bullshit.
that's not true.
Okay.
Wide receiver, as we talked about during the draft, is the second hardest position to hit in the first through 3 rounds. The first 3 rounds of the NFL, it's the hardest position
Unless
to
you're
hit.
Steelers hit on every receiver they take.
What I'm saying is, if you got somebody AJ Brown, as an example. Not saying Phillies, but a talent like AJ Brown is the option for Trevor Lawrence.
Not a chance.
100% you would, because he's making Jalen Hurts look like a good quarterback. He's getting 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns in a season. He would 100% do that.
I'm not taking a fucking receiver for a starting quarterback. Not a chance.
A starting receiver that gets you 1,700 yards or a starting quarterback that gets
You're-
you 28 touchdowns.
You're looking at like a defensive.
You're
end
talking as a
or
fan, not as a fucking franchise or a coach. That guy, AJ Brown's not selling fucking seats.
I disagree with that, because Jalen Hurts isn't selling seats in Philadelphia. It's AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
You look around the crowd, and I think you're seeing a little bit more Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
I doubt it. I actually doubt it. I bet you AJ Brown sells more than Jalen
It's
Hurts.
the most ridiculous conversation we've had on the show.
It's been a while. But that's it's been a while. But I'm saying
your hatred for
Trevor
Trevor Lawrence comes through so hard. You're fighting Trevor Lawrence, not the fact he's the franchise quarterback in their eyes.
he's not a franchise quarterback.
In their eyes, he is.
Well, I'm saying he has their backs against the wall, but he's not a
It's not
franchise
his fault.
quarterback. And again, this team who has never been relevant outside of spending money in cap will no longer be able to do that. And if you're looking at a team that's you have to pay players to come to you, and now you're suddenly giving $500 million to your quarterback who has been mediocre in his third year now, after giving him all the possible weapons you possibly could, including some of the best
So
offensive
I'm
linemen
not saying
available.
he's worth $55 million. I'm agreeing he's not. I'm saying they don't have a fucking choice.
It's the going rate.
That's
You
the
can't let
price
that
of a
guy.
quarterback.
Yeah, you can't let the guy out of your building because you have no better.
They've never won until he showed
Minnesota just did.
Minnesota didn't draft that.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Kirk
Minnes-
Cousins isn't 20
Minnesota
years
is
old.
just as close, capable, competitively as the Jaguars.
Kirk Cousins is
Not
36
now.
years old.
Yeah, okay, but I'm saying they're still much more competitive with Kirk Cousins and would be for the next 3. He's got a 3-year contract, so arguably he's going to get the same type of contract that Trevor Lawrence is going to get, right? 3-4 years.
If what you're saying is you're comparing a mistake between Minnesota and Jacksonville, like Minnesota made a mistake by letting Kirk Cousins go because they had their offense set. They just needed to draft in some defense, and I mean they're going to get like a 3rd round pick and like a compensatory for Kirk Cousins next year, but like they're never getting the return. If we're talking about Jacksonville picked this guy 1st overall, Jacksonville has grown as a franchise with him, believe it or not, and gone as far as 2nd round of the playoffs.
So worse than they did with Blake Bortles. This is the Sunshine Boy, guys.
No,
The Sunshine Boy with all the cap money being spent.
Here's the
He
problem.
didn't sell out with Blake Bortles.
Yes,
He
they
didn't
did.
sell Blake Bortles jerseys.
The Blake Bortles team was loaded.
On
Jacksonville is okay.
You're talking about. You can't tell me Travis Etienne and Leonard Fournette in their prime are the same person. Leonard Fournette was significantly better. The defense that Jacksonville had was so fucking good, so good.
What is wrong with their defense right now?
It's not that defense.
It's absolutely not that.
Weren't they like 5th in the league in sacks? Like they have a very
Yeah.
good defense,
Look,
and they have very good corners too.
You had a cheap Jalen Ramsey. You had Miles Jack with knees. You start looking up and down. You start looking up and down that defense. There's a bunch of guys on there that were in their prime. Right now, I'm not saying that the defense is bad, and I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. What I'm saying is, Chad is correct, and they do not have a choice but to give this guy $55 million.
Yeah, should he take a
So
friendly deal? Should he? Yes. Will he? It's not his.
we're 5
no.
years removed, or maybe 6 now, from Jimmy Garoppolo getting his big deal when he got his big deal. Trevor Lawrence is not any better than Jimmy Garoppolo was when he got signed.
That's
Is it? Why? Statistically, Jimmy Garoppolo might actually be better at the time that they're signing their contracts. And Jimmy Garoppolo had less around him when that contract was signed than what Trevor Lawrence has had given to him since he's been in the league.
Trevor Lawrence's first year is a write-off. So I mean, really, this
Why?
kid,
Why does he get a write-off on that?
because Urban
The whole
Meyer
team
fucked
gets a
up that
fucking
entire
write-off.
team.
Why?
Not just him.
Why?
Stop.
The guy quit on them.
I don't care.
11 weeks into his job there, he quit.
I don't care.
That
Trevor Lawrence still didn't look the golden boy that everybody said he was going to be.
you're saying that his first year and his second year look the same.
His second year looked better than his first year, of course.
Okay.
Most
okay.
rookie
So it's fair.
quarterback second year
It's
does
fair
look
to
better.
no, but it's fair to say we just ignore the first year and call his second year is like baseline. Now his third year didn't look the same as his second year, so you call that regression. But what other choice do they have but to pay them?
Like I said, I think you can find other options. This is what you're doing is you're as a
So-
franchise.
So you think like
They just had to franchise tag their
In-
best edge rusher
in
because they
re-
couldn't afford to pay him because they know what's coming down the pipeline.
in reality, they're not getting 3 first-round picks, right?
No.
So your option is to let him walk in free agency?
No. I think your option is to get some sort of
You're
trade.
getting nothing back for him, though.
We don't know that.
You have to be overwhelmed by a trade to trade away the first overall pick. That isn't like even look at like the way Baker Mayfield is in. They didn't trade him for nothing.
What do you mean?
They didn't just give up on him on his 3rd year and trade him away.
Okay.
He played
And
his
what
contract.
happened to Cleveland? They went chasing for Deshaun Watson, and now we're in even worse financial problems than they
So-
were under Baker Mayfield.
So this is exactly what we're talking about. You're saying Jacksonville should do a similar situation.
No, I'm saying Jacksonville can find a corner, a lineman involved, 2 players in a trade that fill a slot with a
Pick a
draft
team.
pick.
Pick a team that
He's
is
going to give a
willing to
starting
give up.
corner and a starting lineman for a quarterback who you are just saying right now isn't that good. No one.
Yeah.
Why not? What you mentioned DK Metcalf. Prime example. You give me DK Metcalf and you give me somebody on defense from their
Well-
secondary.
But why? That's the thing that you're saying the Seahawks are going to give away DK Metcalf for Trevor Lawrence, like,
DK Metcalf and another piece.
and then who plays quarterback for the Jaguars with DK Metcalf in spot?
You don't need the replacement right now for Trevor Lawrence, is what I'm saying.
If you're trading for DK Metcalf, you do
Why?
because
He
he
just
is on
invested
the last year of
$16
his
million
like, deal. Yeah,
He's on the last year's deal.
second last year of his deal.
Yeah.
And he makes 16 this year and 18 next year, and you have no quarterback plans in sight.
So
And
I
you're
can pay
willing give up
50 to
your guy.
Lawrence, or I can pay 18 to DK Metcalf and have 32
50 is the
million left
going
to
rate for a
deliver.
quarterback.
Yeah.
But then you have 32
Like-
million that you can spread around other positions.
It's you still have a fun fucking quarterback.
Correct. Like the
You're-
Brock
you're-
Purdy's don't grow on trees. The second round picks don't grow on trees. You need to be able to find somebody out there. Like there's a guy, the second quarterback on your roster could probably play as a starter for a lot of different teams. And Mason Rudolph, he's probably the 33rd or 34th best starter in the league. He could probably play in some teams, but no one's betting their franchise around him. You think if that guy was a legitimate option for starter, the Steelers would have went and got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? The answer is no. Like that guy was in the building for 5 years. They let him walk, and he went and signed a minimum deal for fucking Tennessee. Quarterbacks do not grow on trees. If you have a quarterback in your building that is above average, and we're saying Trevor Lawrence is above average, you have to pay him. We buried Jared Goff 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Now that guy is making $47, $48, $49 million a year because he found the right situation. I do believe that Jacksonville is his right situation. He doesn't need to win the Super Bowl for him to be earning your respect. You should hate him. You should always hate him.
I'm just
You
talking.
should always hate him.
Coming from a team that paid Ryan Tannehill $40 million a year,
Ryan
watching the
Tannehill
Geno
is a
Smiths getting paid,
receiver. That
watching
got
the Geno
converted.
Smiths getting paid $37 million a year, watching Jimmy Garoppolo have 2 contracts that hamstrung 2 franchises now. Unfortunately, teams make bad decisions on mediocre or slightly above average quarterbacks, and that's where I think this is going to fall into play. A team that has to buy talent will no longer because they don't
Yeah,
draft talent.
That's their only option. Is all we're trying to say.
Yeah. They don't have, if
They're
you're
not
the
going to
GM,
draft high enough to replace him
and if you're the
because
GM,
he's going to win 8 games, 9 games.
I disagree.
but
If he goes out there and wins 4 games, then sure, cut his ass.
if you're the GM, you're not keeping your job if you trade this guy for a 4th round pick.
But you're making it sound like there's no options out there for that pick. There's reclamation stories for every single player around the league.
Yeah, you're looking for happy path. No, we're looking for legitimate things that are happening. If you trade Trevor Lawrence tomorrow, or if he holds out and you just let him walk, you get
You
nothing.
win 3 games next year, you're gone.
Yeah, and then it's up to the next management.
That's if the ownership isn't involved in the decision, I guess. But we're talking about hypotheticals. I hear what you guys are saying. I'm saying they're doing this. A team that cannot draft, has not drafted well in 20 years, cannot compete in the NFL without buying talent, will suddenly not be able to be good.
But you're trying to trade away their 1st round quarterback, 1st overall pick quarterback, that you could say he sucks. He doesn't.
He's
suck.
won more games than anybody else there.
He's the top 15 quarterback in the league. You cannot get him off your roster if drafting has been your problem.
How many touchdowns do you think he threw last year?
27.
Yeah. It's the flip flop is crazy because when there's other quarterbacks that I say that throw 30 plus touchdowns or close to 30 touchdowns, you say that
Didn't he miss 3 games?
I don't even know how many games he missed.
He missed like 3 games and he threw 27 touchdowns. I think that's pretty reasonable.
But I don't know. Again, I just disagree. I think
I
that
feel you're coming at this as a Titans fan opposed to like a logical GM side. They don't have a choice. That's the issue.
okay, $50 million year quarterbacks.
There's
throw less
fucking
than 30
12 of them in
touchdowns
the
season.
NFL right now.
What's that?
Like 12 of them in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
That's the rate of a quarterback these days.
Okay, and we've laughed at other quarterback contracts.
Yeah, and we'll
as well.
laugh at this one probably.
We will laugh at it.
So
yeah.
like, I know some we're fighting with this. Dak Prescott's gonna get probably fucking 60. That guy's done dog shit. Trevor Lawrence has won more playoff games than him.
Correct.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong with
But,
the
like,
playoff
going to the-
games.
but, like-
Statistically, they're not better. He's not better.
No, but at the
Well,
end of the day,
statistically, it doesn't matter if you don't play.
yeah. So at the end of the day, what the fuck's the argument?
It wasn't Dak's issue for losing any of those games. I feel those playoff games. That wasn't on Dak's head.
I'm just saying, but like that's literally we're all in the same conversation every fucking year. Dak's probably gonna get $60 million when his contract comes up this year.
Yeah. Look, I think the one thing that's true is we have a ton to talk about.
More than we thought we did.
We're not going to solve this problem tonight, so we'll cut this thing off. We obviously have a long off season. You need to go home and play with your Madden franchise and figure out that you do not trade away your first overall pick just because they did throw 30 touchdowns. And I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts, but it's probably time to get signing off here.
21, by the way. 21 and 14. This is what I'm talking. So,
He has something else to add into this.
but I just he's not even 27. Like he barely cracked 20 touchdowns.
And how many games you play?
I don't even know. The year before he had 25. 25 and 8, and he was 12 and 17 the year before that. But 21 and 14. 21 and 14. Like that's
So, Will Levis throws 20 touchdowns this year. We're trading.
if Will Levis throws 20 touchdowns and I'm on here crowning my Billy Jeans for 20 touchdowns, yeah, you guys can make fun of me all you want. Because when Ryan Tannehill threw 34 touchdowns and was up for MVP consideration, you guys were making fun of that number and saying it
We just
wasn't
make fun of you. Just make that.
yeah, well, that should be like 21 touchdowns and 20.
I actually bet on Ryan Tannehill to be a dark horse MVP 2 years ago. So
Was it MVP or comeback player?
MVP.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
But yeah, overall, let's cut that off there. Clearly, there's a lot of debate around what the Jaguars should do. There's tons of decisions to be made along the league. Everybody's 0-0. Everybody's undefeated. Everybody thinks that they have a chance to be in the Super Bowl.
I never even said that about the Titans.
I'm just saying in general.
I just made fun of the Bucks.
We'll cut it off there. Like I said, we'll cut it off there. Appreciate Kellogg's having us out here. We'll see everybody again soon.